Hey there. Mosh's Tech is today. It was supposed to be yesterday, but I fell asleep, so back off. Some cool stuff to talk about today. It's not necessarily going to be tech today. I wanted to talk a little more about taxes when it comes to streaming, and specifically how to enter them into TurboTax. I've printed out several screens from my tax forms, which we're going to take a look at. Obviously, a lot of the personal information and monetary information has been blacked out, but you'll get an idea of the things I listed in which... What's up, buddy? How you doing, Batman? You'll get an idea of which things I bucketed where, an idea of the fidelity that you should probably be at. If for no other reason, then, if you didn't do it this year, start taking tab next year, for this coming year. That's early in the show tonight. Obviously, we'll still be answering whatever questions you had. I thought I was going to get into the hooking up of the consoles. Maybe. I may just want to get into a game. It's kind of a long day. But we'll definitely talk taxes. We'll definitely talk about the console stuff. I thought maybe we'd do some engineering diagram today. I wanted to lock down a license for the software we used last time. I no longer have my demo license, so I need to transfer licenses over. It's not really a clean process, so we can't do that today. An update before we get started: the prizes that people have won have been shipped. At least half of them. I have 4 things over there that still need to be shipped. 4 things that still need to be shipped. I just need to find boxes, and I have a severe lack of time. I may throw this stuff in my car, and when I go to work tomorrow, I'll run over to Kinko's across the street. It's not across the street; it's a couple minutes away. But and I'll see what kind of boxes they have. Maybe I could just stuff stuff into the boxes, and then ship it out while I'm there. I have a feeling I'm gonna need a special box for the keyboard set. I forget who won that. I think that was Rione. And I have to figure out how to ship Soph's thing to her. So it's I shipped my pants. I see you, sweet Chuck. Oh, look at you. I love it. My gift to you. I'm trying to think of what else we were going to mention today. Oh, I don't know if I told you guys about Anna's gift. So Analog won the Google Daydream, the VR thing, and I sent her, I boxed it up, and I put a bookmark in there that she had won as well as a bar chip and some other stuff. And I packaged it all up. I took it down to Kinko's. I'm shipping everything else out. We get to her item, and I give her the address. And she's like, yeah, it's going to be $200 to ship that. I'm like, maybe no. So I send her a message saying, hey, I can buy you a new one of these off Amazon and send it to you for like $40. Kind of $200. So I'm gonna get an envelope and ship her the coin and the chip, as well as the bookmark and some other stuff out that way, because the post office will just, it's some postage. That's pretty much it. Yeah, $200 FedEx. She lives in Western Australia, so it's, if you think about it, probably the farthest place away to get to. Yeah, she lives in she lives in Western Australia, so super far away. Yeah. So but I talked to her. We worked it out. She's cool. I feel bad, but yeah, it's not worth it. I'll take the other one. Same state, bruh. We'll see. Maybe on the giveaway, you gotta win it. What else? I had something. Oh, the charity is still going on this month, of course. I think we're at $100 right now. I'm not sure what the bar total is up to. I need to take a look at that. But that's going for the rest of the month. This month is 1,000 Dreams. You can still get the t-shirt at the link. I'm sure this thing will holler at you at some point. Make sure my timer is still on. Actually, I didn't see it pop yet. Yes, it is. Okay. So that'll be coming up at some point. You can take a look at that. We're close to the incentive. I think it's $25 away from the next fanfic episode. So that'll be coming up as well, I'm sure, at some point this month. There will be a show tomorrow. Gloomhaven is on Saturday. So Gloomhaven got moved because of some conflicts with schedules, and we're doing it on Saturday evening around 5 o'clock. That's irrelevant to you, but I won't be streaming tomorrow. On Monday, there is a raid day. No, thank you, Batman. The charity raid day is on Monday. It'll be a 24 hours or close to 24 hours of bar patrons streaming and raiding into each other to support the charity. All day long event. It's going to be super fun. I will be live during that event. We're taking the 9 o'clock to midnight shift of that raid day. I think that might be about it in terms of news. Yeah, I don't have anything else for you. So let's talk taxes. Let's talk turkey. It's tax time. You should be doing your taxes. Twitch has delayed the 1099s are going out. Everyone that makes money on Twitch will get a 1099 MISC, M-I-S-C, that you need to enter into your taxes. So where do you enter that in? If you're smart, you use TurboTax. It's the best program in the world. You can also take your stuff to like H&R Block or something and they do it for you. That's fine. You do have to pay a little bit of a fee. Leonardo DiCaprio thanks you, and I do as well, Batman. $25. We hit it. Fanfic time. Woo! Awesome. You know what we're going to make from now on, starting right now? Whoever pushes that line over, whoever breaks that line into the fanfic portion, they appear in the chapter. I'll make that a thing starting right now. Thank you so much for that donation to 1,000 Dreams. That's fantastic. Broke our goal. So, tax time is strange for everybody. There's a lot of confusion. People use tax consultants and things like that. TurboTax, I could not recommend it enough. I'm not a tax expert by any means. I do have a complicated tax process because I have a lot of different stuff. Not like some crazy trust fund or any shit like that. But I have, I have student loans that I'm still paying off, so you deduct interest. I got a house, mortgage, children, childcare, education. We have, I have multiple jobs, as you know. This tax season, I got 4 W-2s. And so many like side jobs I worked in the last year. Then I have the streaming stuff. That's a whole nother thing that goes on. My wife, as you guys have heard before, is a teacher, so she has some specialized teacher expenses and things that have to go into different brackets. So if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. That Patreon money too, yeah, I gotta enter. Well, keep that on the down low. I might deduct some of that. Just kidding. But TurboTax makes it so easy. Like, it's really just, you go to the first screen, enter in your name, you want to create an account, whatever. The first screen's, okay, it just, like, it's so easy to walk through it. Just, okay, let's set up your income. Click. Let me see your W-2. Click. Okay, enter in the numbers that are in box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, whatever. Done. If you don't have a complicated tax setup, you enter in your income, click, the end, finished. It gets a little more complicated, like, the more stuff you have. Not stuff as in like tangible things, but multiple jobs, children, married, all this kind of stuff adds in. It still feels loud to me. No, anyways, would have been faster if my work in school sent a paper copy. Oh, actually, my work there's some option for employers to link it directly to the IRS, and the IRS can actually pull that information directly in. So my big W-2 from JPSS, my main contract, was already automatically put in. I didn't have to type anything in. Usually I have to type in all the information. This time it's like click, click, done. So that was pretty easy. But I collect all my paper. Oh, if you donate to charities and stuff, which I did this past year, the charities send you forms to your email, like, hey, save this for tax time. I have a folder that I put all my tax information in. When it comes tax time, take it out, open up the folder, do all your taxes. As soon as you're done, get a paper clip, put all those papers together, put them back in the folder. Because if you get audited or something, you have all the papers together, all your receipts are together, all that kind of stuff. You need to be a little bit organized, especially the more complicated things get. And streaming does complicate things a little bit. If you're in the regular sort of bracket where you have a full-time job and you stream part-time, or even if you have a part-time job and you stream part-time, you have income to add. Besides this, you'll get a W-2 and you'll enter in that information. But there's a section on there Let me switch screens. There's a section on there that will say self-employed work situation, basically. It's below the section for W-2s. That's your income. And then below it, it'll say, do you have any other income? Or do you have any side jobs, business, etc., something like that. How much would you have to donate to really bother saying you donated money? My personal take on that is that I keep copies of everything. I keep track of the amount of money that I donate, not to like streamers, but like to legit charity or something like that. And you just collect it and put it in anyways, because TurboTax will say, like, after you put everything in, TurboTax will go, okay, well, thank you, for donations. We've recorded your information, but it's not enough to qualify for something. For instance, there are some things that I don't qualify anymore that I used to qualify for a long time ago because my income has increased from my job. So like you don't qualify for certain tax breaks, but I enter in all the information anyways, even knowing I'm not getting anything back, just to have that information locked in. And plus, TurboTax is good about saving previous year's information. So God forbid you ever get audited or something, you can go back to that information that's already entered in. You don't have to go, oh yeah, I didn't enter in my, student loan interest because, I wasn't going to get anything back on it. It's good to enter everything in. But I made like 2 bigger charity donations this year. So it was a nice round number. It was easy to enter. If you're going around and, donating $10 to 100 different charities, that could probably pretty annoying to handle that stuff. Dragon Couple, thank you so much for that raid. How are you guys? What were you playing? Overwatch? Resident Evil 2. Okay. Nice. How is that? Oh, Overwatch and then Resident Evil 2. How is that new one? Everyone is freaking playing it. I'm not sure if Ichi is still playing, but like everyone's obsessed with it. And I was watching a little bit, and I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I kind of want to play it now, even though I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan. Anyways, thank you so much for the raid. We are talking about taxes. So basically that feature costs extra money on TurboTax. Oh, does it? To have them go to grab dinner after the stream. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good dinner. So I guess I didn't know it costs extra, but all that stuff kind of becomes moot because you get a certain amount of money back and you just pay it from there. Anyways, when you're entering in your 1099 miss, I'm pretty sure that below the main, like, here's your main income, all your W-2s, below that it'll say 1099 miss, which is where you basically enter in your side money. They tried to sell it to me, and I said no. Yeah, they try and sell me all the time. Every other screen. Hey, you want to get the Max Protect? You could get a live CPA. Come in, check out, do an audit report. It's fine, okay? Unless you're in like a really strange search situation, or you have literally typed in wrong numbers or typed in purposefully incorrect numbers trying to game the system or something, you don't have a lot to worry about audits. They don't do like random audits or anything like that. They don't pick names out of a hat to come get you like the jury duty or something. Just enter in your correct information. Don't be a weasel about it trying to steal more money or anything like that, and you'll be fine. But yeah, so that Max Protect thing I always turn down. Although I did see this year they have the new thing of live CPAs that will come in and check out your taxes with you, which I thought was kind of interesting. So anyways, on that screen, what you'll see is something that looks like this. Now I've cut out a lot of different pieces of my tax report and blocked out some of the exact data, but you could see here in the 1099 MISC area, in the self-employed area, this is where you would enter in if you have an LLC, if you do any 1099 work, which is just contract work, or if you have a side job like streaming. I have 2 on here because I have a system engineering business, which it's my own business and I'm the founder of it, so we have income from that. And then the live broadcasting business is the Twitch side of it. So you don't necessarily need to have an LLC to do this. It's just a way to bucket the money that you take in, basically. Yeah, I paid 0 this year. For TurboTax or like overall, because that's really good. The ideal tax situation, okay, is to actually not get a refund. I know people get super excited when they get big refunds and all that kind of stuff, but the ideal situation is to have all your stuff like as close to 0 as possible, because that means the government you weren't giving the government free loans all year, basically. The money you get back is not free money. It's your money. It's confusing. A lot of times, I have some tax attorney friends that are, they basically get it down to almost a science where when it comes tax time, they owe nothing and they get nothing, which means they got the maximum amount in their paychecks for the entire year. And it takes some workarounds to do that, because there's other stuff like you donate a certain amount of charities, or you'll get deductions back, so you need to spend a certain amount. So it's an interesting system, but these guys, I mean, that's their whole job. Anyways, you'll see an area like this. You'll enter in. Yes, I do have a new self-employed work to enter. Okay, so this is the first screen. Getting more this year means you paid out more. It could also mean the tax situation has changed. That's what it could mean as well. So don't let that. This last year or so was strange because the tax. I think the standard rate went, or the standard. What do you call it? Deduction is went up a little bit, I think. So you might have got more back from the governmental programs. You made less because you worked a lot less? Oh, okay. So this is screen number 1. So here you would enter in something like live broadcasting. You would enter in your business name. A lot of streamers will enter in their own LLC, Moshkrates LLC or whatever. That's not something I've done. But if you had a business that was doing that, you would enter that in here. I use this as a way to keep track in my head which business is which. Because the name of my engineering business, it could kind of be read any different ways. So this helps me sort it out. On the next screen, you'll see something like this. Okay. Let me make sure this is out of the way. I'll fold this guy down. Pipe It Up LLC, you got it. So above this screen, above this area that you'll see, is an area for income. Now, if you had your 1099 from Twitch, you would just simply click on the income there. You'd enter in all the boxes, and then you're done with that section. That is actually not the most important section. This area that I'm showing you is the important section, especially for Twitch streamers, who are just sort of starting out. They're trying to build up their brand and their name and their studio and all that, the advertising, all that kind of stuff. This expenses part, because with businesses, you can basically use debt in a business to offset taxes, especially as a self-employed person. You can offset some obligation of taxes in other areas if you have some amount of debt in a side business, because that counts as your sole proprietor. You're the entity that is responsible for that income, for that revenue, and as well as the deductions for that. So you're responsible for the credits and the debits, basically. I've obviously blocked out all the numbers here. You can see that there are many other categories here. A lot of these are the very common categories for a self-employed business. The ones that are outside of this, there's some less common ones. You'll see meals on here. That's a little bit of a less common one. There's a couple others that were on here that they mark as sort of less common. Some of them have to do with legal fees. If you have to go to court for your business or something like that. I think another one was 100% deductible meals, which is basically charity meals or something like that. I would bring it up right now, except the problem with me bringing it up live is that it displays a lot of my information on there. I don't want to do that. So I've just taken some screenshots. Anyways, these categories are the ones where I could see you having everyone could use. Okay. The big one that is missing here is home office. You can deduct a portion of your home office where you stream from. So what you need to do for that is you'll click on the home office. It will ask you some questions. How often during the year did you use your home office? What portion of the day did you use it the entire year? When did you start using it? Then it will ask you something like square footage of your office area. Then it'll ask you if you use that office area for the 100% purpose of this side business, which is oftentimes no. When I used to work from home, I couldn't say yes to that. So I would say about 50% of the time I'd use it for real work. The other 50% of the time I work a side business. So I can deduct only a half, 50% of the deduction that I would have gotten out of it otherwise. If you have your home office, which is your computer and stuff, and your area, and you don't work from there, you can deduct 100% of the time because it's your stream area. You're coming up with ideas during the day, things like that. I believe on that home office calculation, it'll also ask you how many hours a day that you spend in that area at your home studio, and then it'll give you some reasonable amount of deduction. That is an asset deduction over time. This is kind of an important concept. Basically, what's the best way to show this? Let me do this. This is a decent way to show it. Bring up another paint window, okay? So asset deductions look like this. If I go 2017, 2018, I know it's not going to be lined up, but I don't care. That's fine. 2019. Okay? And it's usually over 5 years, I think. Can't remember exactly. So let's say that last year you got a new office, you want to deduct it. So last year you put in the price of your office, you put in the office deduction, you're going to get the size of it or whatever. What would happen is this, and it'll show you this in TurboTax, by the way, but this is essentially the visual representation. So there's I apparently don't know how to use Paint. So you have a choice. You can take the full deduction in 1 year, which means that if you were using your home office, you're going to take it out of your taxes only that year and then not again. Or if you had like a desk or something, office type, big office purchases. Let's say we could use desk for a good example. Let's say I pay $2,000 for your desk or whatever. You have the choice. You can take a $2,000 deduction on your taxes this year, or you can do I forget the name of it. How have I forgotten the name of it? Depreciation, a depreciated tax rate. So basically what'll happen is if you take it all in one clump, what'll happen is here's your deduction total. You'll get all this back, $2,000 this year. You'll get nothing in the previous year, so you'll be able to deduct nothing. If you do it over time, it'll look like this. It'll be a little lower this year, and then each year past it, it'll look something like this. Okay? So they say to do this if you think that next year you're going to gain a little more money, you'll have more income. So oftentimes when businesses first start, they make no money the first couple of years, none. They can't afford to pay anyone's salary, nothing like that. So but they need office equipment. You need office space. You need leases. You need computers. Same thing on a micro scale applies to streaming. So you'd have this kind of large expense to set up all the equipment and all the things you need to do in advertising and the assets or whatever. We'll cover all that in a minute. But you don't have a lot of income in your first year. You're still baby stream. You're still just starting out. It's like $100 income, something like that. Do you necessarily want to take the full deduction this year? You're not maximizing it, right? You're not making enough income to really offset that. So what you can do is do a depreciated sort of tax situation where over each year you can pay a little bit, you can deduct a little bit of that initial payment that you made. And that's a selection that you can make here. The rule of thumb that I've seen is that anything over $300 you should do the annual depreciation from. Now that's on my scale, on the scale of a streamer. In my opinion, that's the scale. When you're a large corporate business, you're talking about you want to take depreciation on things that are like $10,000 or more. Anything less than that might be in the noise or in the white area of your revenue stream or things you owe or equipment you need to buy. So this is the idea for a sort of annual deduction rate. Let me go back over here. White area. Yeah. I didn't mean that to be racist. I knew you were going there as soon as I saw that. By the way, I should say, because I just saw a pony here, is that this only applies to Americans. I don't know or pretend to know the tax situation of any other country. Please do not use this information to do your taxes in other countries, if that's something other countries do, wherever you are. Okay. This is the next screen you'll see. I said that above the screen you would see some place where you enter in the income, so you'd enter in your 1099 miss from Twitch, enter in your numbers or whatever. It comes out, turns out you made, like we just said, you made $100 this past year or something like that. That explains why I'm being audited. You need to do taxes. The government always gets its beak wet, So below that income screen, you'll see expenses. And this is the important part, as I just said. There's a lot of different categories. There are common ones. These are the most common. Home office that we just covered is the number 1 on there. Number 2 is communications, and everyone can do this one. Why is that? Because communications is your internet. Do you use your internet to stream? You do use your internet to stream, don't you? So It's going to ask you when during the year did you set up this internet service? Did you use it fully for streaming? If not, you could say some percentage, and you could use that based on time. But then you add up your bill, you tell them a percentage, and TurboTax will work out the rate you're deducting, basically. You don't have to do anything more than that. Just if you have the same bill for the entire year, I know some people don't because rates go up because ISPs are awful garbage and Spectrum is the Antichrist. You can get a bunch of your statements. You can go on most of these ISP websites, print out all your statements, or just take the numbers down, add them up, divide it by 12 or whatever, add them up to total, and then put it in the system, and it'll tell you what you can deduct. Communications is pretty easy. If you have a, I guess I'm not sure why you would use your phone for streaming, but maybe you do. Maybe there's a skid on you could deduct phone service, you could deduct cable service, things like that. Fax machines can go on here, I believe, as well, but you might put that down in supplies too. So that one's pretty easy. Communications, all I did for mine, add up the internet expense, put that in there, done. Assets, let's go to that screen. Let me bring up number, what's this, 3? 2? 3. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Nope, this is business. Hang on a sec. I want advertising. 3. What am I looking for? Assets. Okay, so assets are kind of a strange one. This is exactly what I was just talking about with this table over here. So this table over here is the depreciated tax rate on all these depreciated deductions or whatever it's called. So you'll see what I've done here, and I've cropped out any of the pricing, and that means I've cropped out, it doesn't actually give you the price. I had all the prices. When I put it in the system, it gives you a percentage that you're going to take the first year, and then it'll show you this graph of what you're going to get next year and the year after that and the year after that. After that 5th year, you don't deduct this stuff anymore, and it will automatically come off via TurboTax. If you have the right package. I don't know if there was an extra package that I had to buy or something, but it was available to me. So you can see here the dates placed in service. They want to know those dates. So for me, that's usually the date of purchase. When I order it, that's when it's mine and it goes into service. You goddamn right. But you can see the things on here. If you notice, like some of the theme here, 12U rack. There's a monitor set. So I had a package of monitors that I bought. The SM7B mic that was right here. The compressor and the power conditioner. Motherboards, the processors, the GPUs. All that stuff is on the more expensive end of purchases. And so I was saying in here for the asset section, that's when you want to go into the depreciation over time, maximize your tax, or actually, what is it called? Reducing your tax burden, but by spreading it out over time. So it was an investment this year, but next year I might make more money, so I want to pay less taxes next year. So here's a little bit of a deduction for then as well. How did I come up with all this information? I have lists. Take a look here. That's a big list of equipment. So is that. And I have another page with some information on it as well, but I'm not going to hold that one up. This list I did not keep for the year. I made this in the last week. How did I do that? Guess what? Where you order most of your stuff from? Amazon, probably. This page here is Amazon purchases for the last year. You can. I also have purchases at Micro Center. So I purchased at Micro Center. I purchased at Guitar Center, at Best Buy. Each of those places has an online account you can log into, put your account information into it, and I'm not sponsored by it. Yeah, right. I should add that on there. God damn it. I'm working on it. But each of those websites, you can go there and you can get your whole order history. Best Buy has that. You can go look up everything you bought in the last year. It sorts by time. Guitar Center has it, okay? If Guitar Center has it, you're damn sure that Best Buy is going to have it. Micro Center is going to have it. And Amazon, go to your account, click on orders, search by 2018. It was the easiest thing I ever did. The only thing we had to go through is my family orders a ton of stuff on Amazon. So I had to go through and take out like just all the electronic parts. But then I just made a list. By the way, don't go by the list that's on the front page. If you're scrolling down there, it says, oh, you got a light for $59.99. You have to actually click on the order, because then it applies the tax to it, and you paid for that item plus the tax. That's the amount that come out of your pocket. So that's the number you write down. You can see I have a lot of crossed outs here. That's because I realized halfway through, like, oh yeah, I forgot tax, and I had to go back. And then I have the whole line of dates here, date of purchase. So then I come over here, enter my date of purchase, enter in, and by the way, I try and be as specific as possible for the asset. What you don't want to do is come in here and go computer stuff, computer thing, computer bucks, because I feel like if the IRS looks at that, they're going to go, it's not specific enough to be, and then all your numbers are like $10.99 or $100, $400. To me, that's not specific enough. That's screaming audit me when you look at that. For me, I paid $10,000 on the dot for something. No. So all mine are down to the cent, and they're all very specific. Didn't pay tax on online orders until 2018. Yeah. Well, half mine were taxed and half mine weren't, so I'm not sure exactly how that works, but whatever. Apply the insurance inflated prices for stuff you don't have the exact amounts. Yeah, that's true. There are some that I don't actually have a receipt for. There's one that's sure SM7B, but I found it online. So I can provide proof of it, and I have the exact number. That was just the one I couldn't find in my box of stuff. So anyways, you come in here, you enter stuff that's $300 or over in here, and take the overtime depreciated tax burden. It's worth it, especially if you're going to continue streaming this year. And the next year and the next year, you can get some relief for these products you'll be using the whole time. I'm not going to replace this mic. So why wouldn't I take a deduction this year that I took last year for this? And just spread it out over time, and it helps. Everything helps. So make sure you do that. $300 or over, you put it on the asset list, okay? Have the date, have the exact price and the name. Amazon is your friend. All these websites have this specific list. You can see how, and the other thing I would suggest, and I just mentioned that a minute ago, is to make them very specific. You can see all these names here are very, very specific to what I bought. They're nothing like computer box. That's one for me to remember what it is. It's another one for a tax person to look at the IRS or something and go, okay, this guy actually did take really particular notes and all of his stuff. And it's not like, as I said, it's not like I've been recording this through the entire year and I'm so organized and I'm keeping lists of stuff. I'm not. Websites do that. There's no reason for me to write it down until the end when I want to tally it up by hand. That's the asset thing. Okay. Now, what about your other expenses, Mosh? Good question. The TurboTax server service will tell you, but anything below $300 or below $200, I forget what they said, is considered an expense. That's something that it's too low to get any kind of depreciated amount on. And by the way, some of these items here, the depreciation over time, the tax rate that I got back was like $12 for like a big purchase. So if you think about it, if you're entering in something like cables for $6, you're not seeing anything back on that. So that's why they say enter them into expenses. So it groups it all together into one, and they give you a tax relief on this big group of stuff. So if I close down this number 4 here, the next one down is called supplies. That's where you put in your actual, I guess they're technically called supplies, but in the information it'll tell you like small form factor purchases or something like that that are you use on the stream regularly. And it also says that you normally replace pretty quickly, and that's things like mic stand, bulbs, cords. I have so many HDMI cords on here, although those don't really get replaced. Wall connectors, shelves, extension cables, thermal paste. I guess the rack chassis around here because that's just because they're a little, they were pretty cheap. But things like that, fans, stuff that's kind of like throwaway, you know. My headphones were grouped into what? I have those on here. They're grouped into big purchases. So they were on that that list we just looked at as number 4. So let's go to the big the supply expenses. You can take a look at that one. That would be here. Okay. This is the still jealous about that mic. Dude, it's an awesome mic. Here's the supplies list, okay? Now you can see I blocked out some of the numbers again, but you can see what this looks like. This is exactly the same thing as the other sheet, except in this one it's very straightforward. There's no calculation. There's no calculation on the time that you on the other depreciated assets screen. You'd enter in the name of the piece, the amount, and the time you started using it, and then the next screen you say like, did you buy this solely for this business? And then the other one's like, did you use this full time as soon as you purchased it? There's like 2 radio buttons you click. Then you click yes, enters it in. In this one, these are just text fields that you can see here on the screen. So I would just, you can write in any description of the product, and on the right you write the amount. That's it, you're done. There's no other calculation. And then you can keep clicking this plus sign at the bottom to enter in more and more expenses. That's a majority of my list here. It takes forever for me. I mean, I have like 100 lines on here because I bought so much crap last year. But you can see the type of stuff that's on here. I thought this said origins. It's O-rings. So I tried to keep it very organized and put the date on there. Why? Because if an IRS agent looks at this and goes, it's not, I see you bought a webcam. I see you bought it twice. You put the webcam on there twice. What's going on? It's 2 different prices. That doesn't make sense. Well, I bought 2 different webcams, and there are 2 different dates. You can see it right there. So if anyone comes back and says, I need to see the receipt for your XLR to 1/4-inch cable, I go, okay, which one? Are you talking about on the 718? Are you talking about a different one? Because I think I've purchased that a couple times on here too. Then I can go straight to that receipt on Amazon. Put the date down here. That's a good suggestion. I also put down some of the quantity amounts because I bought this stuff in pairs, like this ground loop noise isolator. I bought in 2s, and I think, you can see up here I bought it in 3s here. But, it's regular stuff. Elgato Stream Deck, mic stand, replacement, 5400 bulbs, HDMI splitters, 25-foot cables, like all this kind of stuff. And this list goes on and on and on and on and on. But this is the stuff where it's just small amount stuff, under $200, $300, stuff that you're probably going to replace, but it was an expense for your business this year. Bam, there's the list. That's super easy to get, again, from Amazon or from Best Buy or from Micro Center or Guitar Center. Okay. That one's pretty straightforward. That one's just enter in your expenses. And anyone that has a job where you have to travel or something, you're used to that. It's an expense report is all it is. List what you did, how much it costs, we'll reimburse you. That's kind of what it is. Okay? Let's go to the next thing. Advertising. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, luckily for you, TurboTax is very, very good at explaining everything that it means for that category. And here's exactly what it means. Some examples include business cards, website, online ads, brochures, fees paid to advertising agencies, other agencies. When you click on more examples, it'll be more stuff on there. And you can see exactly what I've put on here. And if these amounts or names look familiar, it's because everyone does this stuff. Did you buy business cards? That's an expense. Summer event flyer. So I separate out some of my Upwork stuff. I work with Lynn on a lot of stuff. She developed, She developed a lot of assets for me this year. Some of them are used for advertising, like the event flyer in the summer, as well as the promotional package that just came out. Oh my God. That promo image package, I believe, is from the bar as well. That's when I had, I'm not wearing that shirt. The Brutus and Roxy. I paid for that and deducted it here someplace. And then I added a little information here. So it says Upwork contract. So if I come to this, someone questions it, I'm not sure what this promo image package is. Did it really cost that much? Bring up the Upwork website because it tells me right there it's an Upwork contract. Look at that name. It probably matches what's on Upwork. Bam, bam, bam. Done. Have perfect proof that I pay that much money. The bar hand. So the poker set, the chip package that I bought, that's on here. TwitchCon registration fee. I went and looked up on the software in TurboTax. They have a really nice help area, but you can type in there pretty much anything. So I just typed in conference fees, and it says, put them under advertising because you're going to the conference to advertise your brand. That's what they consider to be bucketed in here. So I put down the registration fee for TwitchCon last year. And then here's the animated intro, the scene transition, set of 5 overlays. There's a few more below this. But that's the type of stuff you're going to see on the advertising area. But that's a lot of this stuff. When I click through here, I went through all of their common expense categories and their uncommon expense categories. And I sort of was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. You can deduct that. Okay. So I went and found that information, brought it back, clicked to the next one. Oh yeah, advertising. Yeah, that's where that one belongs. So if you read through this stuff, you can find it pretty easily as well. So this is the advertising expenses. The next one down is meals, 50% limit. What the hell does that mean? I don't know if I actually printed that one out, did I? No, I didn't. But the 50% limit meals. So this would be a place where you're traveling and you're having a business meal. You can consider the meals at conferences to be included into a deductible meal at the 50% rate. As I said earlier, they have another category for meals that are expensed at 100%. That's a less common thing because that's mostly like charity fundraising dinners and things like that. Like you would go to support politicians or something. It's things like that where you have to buy a table with a donation or something, or that person who's putting on that event can deduct that from their taxes. For me, the 50% limit means I need to collect my receipts for when I was traveling. What did I eat when? How much did it cost? What I did instead, because I did not have those receipts. I probably do someplace in my credit card statement, but I'm not going to sort through that. I mean, we ate at different places. We had drinks at different places. What I did was actually went to the government GSA website and found the per diem rate for San Jose, which is where TwitchCon was. You could do the same thing for PAX South. You can do the same thing for PAX East, PAX West. Any of these other, Twitch Chicago, any of those type of things. Someplace you had to travel where you're promoting your business and advertising and things like that. So I took the per diem rate. It's a website you can go to. It's called the GSA website. I use it all the time for work. Obviously, I've been working for NASA for like 10 years. You go there, you type in you can search for it by zip code, or you can just type in the state and the city, and it'll give you the rate for lodging. So you can deduct your hotel expenses at a certain rate, or unless if you don't have the receipt or whatever, and it'll give you a meal rate. It'll tell you the meal for a full day and for travel day, and this is what we do for work. So the days when you're traveling is considered a 75% per diem rate. So if it was $100, you can on a regular day during travel. When you're traveling, it's $75. That's because they consider you probably eating one of your meals at home, basically. What I did for here, went to the per diem rate, 2 travel days. That's when I flew out on Thursday, when I flew back on Monday, and then 3 full rate meals. Now, the amount that I ended up entering, because each day is like $60 maybe or something like that for meals. I probably spent way more than that eating and drinking and all that stuff. But because I don't have the receipts and I have proof of that, I'm not going to risk, making up some number or whatever. So put in the per diem rate, and I think that's a good coverage of it. It gives you a little bit back, but it's probably not the full amount. That's okay. And the 50%, again, it splits on travel days. So make sure you mark down when you fly out is the travel day per diem. When you fly back is travel day per diem. The other days are full day per diem. And if you want to get really technical, because we used to have to do it with expense sheets, the per diem website, the GSA website, will break the per diem rates down by meals of the day. So give you a rate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dinner's always a little bit higher. And then I think there's a snack per diem for like $9 or something. Like it's for a lot of people that travel and do a long all-day meeting and then just like grab some Fritos and a Sprite or something from the market at the Marriott, or something. I say that because I've actually done that. And I'll deduct like $9 for the day because that's what I ate. So meals was pretty easy. You can get really in-depth with it if you saved all your meal receipts and everything, and more power to you. I just didn't do that this time. Okay. Here is the travel part. This part's pretty easy. Airfare, hotel, rental car. Done. Taxi and ride service is what people are usually going to do. No one's really renting cars when they travel to cons. You're going to Uber everywhere because it's so easy. Baggage fees are real. If you have upgrades or something, you can deduct those. So, yeah, this is the easy one. So, hotel for TwitchCon at the Fairmont, Thursday through Monday, put in an amount. flight for TwitchCon, one ticket. You're getting one price for there and back. Put in that price. And then I Uber from the airport to the hotel and from the hotel to the airport. That's it. Easy. This one's not a big deal. There's other places in here you can put down things like mileage if you're driving to a TwitchCon. I'm thinking of my friend Avi, who went to Twitch Chicago, and she drove obviously from her house to Twitch Chicago and then back, so that she could deduct that mileage at some rate. Usually mileage is something like they'll pay out, I want to say it's like 53 cents per mile. I want to say it's something like that. It's not great, but it, everything adds up because it's gas and wear in your car and everything. They'll give you a little bit back for that. I think you can also deduct tolls, by the way, if you go through any toll roads, because I used to do that for work as well. And that's it for mine. You could, yeah, that's pretty much it. That was business travel. So there's other parts that are the less common deduction areas. You can go into that. But this is basically how you work your expenses for Twitch. You need to keep a good record, and you don't really have to because all the online websites do that for you. Amazon does that for you. Pull your data, pull the total amounts, write them all down on a sheet of paper, and just go through one by one and enter them all. It took me a couple of hours the other night, like maybe 3 or 4 hours actually, because I was data collecting to begin with. But it's worth it just to keep a good record. Plus next year, I'm sorry. Plus next year when you go to do your taxes again, these expenses will already be taken off. You don't have to worry about anything you bought this year. You'll see the depreciated assets, tax burden tax deduction rolling over into the next year automatically. It'll be on there as soon as you start up your TurboTax on your list for live broadcasting or Twitch or whatever. It'll have some negative $500, which is your depreciation for the next year. So you'll already start with that. So when you put in your income for Twitch, that will offset any money you might owe. There's a lot of other complication with taxes. This just pertains to Twitch. And by the way, that only pertains to when you get your actual documentation. Twitch admits they messed up. They're going to send out another 1099 miss to everybody, or 1099K, whatever bracket you're in. Wait for those documents. They said by the end of February. Don't know what that means in terms of exact date, but I would just hold off. I know a lot of people like to get their taxes done immediately. I'm one of those people. So now my tax is all filled out. My tax return is all filled out, except for that income for Twitch, and I have a dividend form I'm waiting on. Anyone that has any kind of investments knows that the div forms, the 1099 div or whatever, 1098 div, is like, it comes out in mid-March or something like that. You have to wait forever for it. It's ridiculous. But yeah, with TurboTax, when you're done with this, you're done. Go do your other deductions. And I can't help you with that because that's like if you have children or school or anything like that. But definitely take a look. Like, it doesn't hurt to take a look through the TurboTax software. You're not going to click on anything where it says like start for work-related expenses. Maybe you're not sure. Like, hey, I'm a teacher and I bought some certain stuff this year. Is this where I put it in? Click on it. Read the information. TurboTax is the best for walking through and helping you figure out the right amount of tax that you owe. And then it'll give you some audit rate. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never seen, or what I think doing my own for probably 17 years. Before that, I think my dad did mine. I don't think I did it before then. But, it always gives you an audit report at the end where it's like, are you in danger of getting audited? Because they have a lot of red flags that are built into the software that'll tell you like, hey, you're going to get audited because you got some kind of shady stuff happening or some numbers don't add up. I've been doing it for that long, almost 2 decades. I have seen nothing like that. I've never seen it come above low just because I enter in precisely the information. There's no guesswork. It's just, this is the information the sheet says to add, bam, bam, bam. These are my expenses, bam, bam, bam. That's it. It's not, don't be scared about it. It's tax time. It's fine. Just enter in your information into a spreadsheet and you're done. If you have any questions about taxes in the next couple of weeks, especially when we get our forms, feel free to join the Discord and I will help you, or you can send me a DM. My information's all below here. I'm happy to help. I cannot help you if you live in another country. I do not know how to deal with that. I will pretend to do that. Contact a local tax professional. If you are super confused and you have some kind of like really strange tax situation, I have friends that have trust fund like type things, which makes it really complicated. You can go to a website called LegalZoom. I've used them before a few times when I was starting some businesses. And just make sure my personal information is not saved in here. Okay, it's not. So you go to LegalZoom.com. It is like a free, well, it's not free. A lot of the parts are paid. But if you go to LegalZoom.com, it'll give you, there's tons of information about how to start an LLC. How do I do this? What if I'm planning to, there's some other legal situation you're in. When you go to form a business, they give you an option to contact their like partner program, which is called 1-800-ACCOUNTANT or something like that, where they'll set you up with a free consultation with an accountant. And you can basically just tell them like, hey, this is the business I'm starting. I am a Twitch broadcaster. I do not understand how to handle bits. I don't understand how to handle donations. Can you help me? They'll be like, yep, this is, that's exactly what to do. They might be a little crazy busy right now. So if you have dire information, I'd come here early and take a look. On that particular note of donations, there are areas in TurboTax where you can enter in that information. Just other income earned, I think is the title. Put that information in there. Don't try to steal money from the government. That will never work. Wesley Snipes found out about that pretty harshly. Even if it's small amounts, it's not worth the risk. Enter in the information. What are they gonna do? Take $5 and you're pretty okay. IRS is one branch of the government. Not that you want to mess with the government. I mean, come on. But it's one. You're never getting away with anything with the IRS. Just be straight. So you can take your PayPal donations and put them into like a large lump sum. This is how much extra money I earned. You can consider it something like tips. Although waitresses and waiters have to report their earnings and their tips to their employment, so they will also submit something on their behalf to the IRS. Just so you know, PayPal also submits to the IRS. So they may only do it if it's $10,000 or more, or $20,000 or more, something like that. But it's not worth the risk. Just put the straight amount on. That's a good talk. I'll have to clip that for friends that are interested in the tax breakdown. And as I said, I'm happy to help and answer any kind of questions I possibly can as we go forward, especially the next month, because taxes in the United States are due in a few months here. So I'm sure there'll be more coming up. I'm sure it'll come up again when the 1099s come out. Just be aware. And Twitch should have accountability for everything that's built into their system, meaning bits, subs, all that revenue, that's on their end. That's all going to be in your W-2. What they can't do is monitor your PayPal and donations. So keep a lookout. Do we have time? Do we want to do the console hookup? Or do we want to go play some games? Let me see how bad it's messed up. If this works right away, I'll talk about it a little bit. And you can tell me if it looks off time or whatever it may be. But let me go to the right screen. Oh. We can hear it, huh? Trying to figure out what channel it's on. Okay, got it. That's right, it's on 3. Okay, so let me show you. So how I have my console hooked up is my consoles are about 15 feet behind the screen right now. Behind the green screen, just behind me. I have a PS4 controller on my desk here. Now, you should be able to hear that kind of background-ish music from the PlayStation. Oh, this isn't... Why am I not getting that information? Huh. Well, we'll see if this doesn't work or not. We'll switch. But oh, that did work. I did just hear that. You should be able to hear it fine. If there's an audio delay, you let me know. So how this is plugged in is I have an HDMI splitter. Okay, that means that the HDMI from the all four of my we're gonna play Apex in just a minute. I just wanted to talk about the console hookup for a second. Play some Caustic. So there's a 4-port HDMI switch over there next to the consoles. All the consoles are plugged